Hi, and welcome back to our channel. So are you planning on moving to the Philippines or at least thinking about it? If you are, great choice. But if you haven't yet decided if or where to move, we're going to give you all the information that you need to make a good decision about moving to the Philippines. The Philippines is a beautiful country that offers a lot of exciting adventures and experiences. It has more than 7,000 islands, its people have a rich and diverse culture, and it has a promising economy. But of course, any move to another country is a huge decision. Not only will you have to say goodbye to the convenience and comfort that you're enjoying in your current place, but you'll also have to adjust to your soon-to-be new home, in this case, the Philippines. Let's do a brief introduction with some very basic but also important information about the Philippines. Its capital city is Manila. This will most likely be your entry point. The currency here is called the Philippine peso. The conversion rate varies, but on average, $1 is equivalent to 48 pesos. The language in the Philippines is called Filipino or Tagalog, but most people here understand and speak English. The president right now is Rodrigo Duterte. You can go ahead and do more in-depth research on news and current events, but those are the basic things you need to know. So before you board that plane, here's our comprehensive guide on how to move to the Philippines. Let's start with the pros and cons. While the Philippines is a spectacular Southeast Asian nation that will truly give you a taste of the Asian life, it has its good and bad sides, just like every country. So for the pros, the number one on the list is that moving here is cheap. Later in this video, you'll get a breakdown of the costs of your first month in the Philippines, but we can tell you right now that it will not cost you more than $2,000. Number two, people in this country understand and speak English very well. You won't have a problem communicating with the locals because English is one of the major languages in this country, next to Filipino or Tagalog, which is the national language. Number three, Filipinos are naturally helpful and hospitable people. Of course, not everyone you'll meet will be nice to you, but most of them will try to help you out as much as they can. Say, for example, you need directions. They'll happily assist you. Use your better judgment, though, as there are dangerous people everywhere in the world. But what we're saying is that Filipinos are cool and friendly, especially to foreigners. Now let's go over the cons. First on the list, beware of pickpockets and scammers. Before making any big purchase, check for reviews online or ask for recommendations from people you trust. When going to crowded places like malls, taking public transportation, or just walking down the street, make sure to keep your valuables safe at all times. Second con, there's so much inefficiency in processes, especially when you're dealing with government agencies. If you're used to how things are done in the U.S., do not expect the same when you move to the Philippines. At the very least, expect to double or triple the waiting time. Third con, traffic and public transportation are terrible in the Philippines, especially in its capital, Manila. We cannot emphasize this enough. Trains and buses are jam-packed with people, especially during rush hour. It is highly recommended that you get a taxi instead. If you have the budget, buying your own car could be helpful. A decent used sedan could cost you about $5,000 to $6,000. Okay, so now let's talk about visas. If you're coming from the U.S. or any country for that matter, there is no cost for a visa for the first 30 days to enter the Philippines as a tourist. All you need is a valid passport and a return ticket. Bear in mind that you're still going to need a return ticket even if you're not planning on using it. The immigration officer will definitely ask for it before they let you enter the country. So do not take your chances. Make sure you have a return ticket. Of course, if you're planning on staying long-term, your 30-day tourist visa won't be enough, but that's not a problem. There's an easy fix. All you have to do is to get an extension from the Philippine Immigration Office. You can go to their website for the list of available locations. Once you get there, you just have to fill out a form and pay a fee of about $65. This will give you a 60-day extension, and you'll have to come back before it expires to renew it. You will do this every 2 months for up to 3 years. Once your 3 years are up, all you have to do is leave the country, even if it's just for a day, and then you can come back and follow the same extension process for another 3 years. Here's an important tip. Be smart about choosing the immigration office where you will get your first visa extension. Once you get your visa extended, you will have to visit the same immigration office every time, so make sure it's convenient and close to where you'll be staying. Okay, let's talk about the best time to fly to the Philippines. The Philippines is a tropical country, so you don't have to worry about winter time. The country only gets 2 seasons instead of 4, dry season or summer, and wet season or the rainy months. The best time to fly weather-wise would be around February, when there are not that many typhoons and summer is fast approaching. Summer is from March to May and can get pretty hot in this country, so don't forget to pack your sunscreen and sunglasses. Cost-wise, it's best to fly to the Philippines in June. This is around the time when fewer flights are being booked, so it's cheaper. This is mainly because June marks the beginning of the rainy season. It shouldn't be a problem, though. You can get a June flight and save hundreds of dollars and still arrive on a pretty summery June day. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Now let's talk about which city in the Philippines is the most ideal to move to. This country has many beautiful cities for you to choose from, and it really depends on what type of experience you're looking for. To give you an overview, here's a brief background of 3 major cities you could consider. Makati. Makati is the nation's top business district. It's about half an hour away from Manila and also about half an hour away from the airport. It's mostly skyscrapers, upscale malls, restaurants and bars, and high-rise condominiums. A lot of foreigners live here mainly because it's where most international companies are located. If you want to work in a corporate office, then this might be the place for you. It's also relatively cleaner and more organized compared to its neighboring cities. Baguio. Baguio, or the City of Pines as the locals call it, is a popular tourist destination in the Philippines. This one is located up north in the mountains about 4 hours from Manila. Choose this city if you like cold weather and you want to live in idyllic little towns. Baguio is a highly urbanized city, so everything you need is here, including upscale establishments and country clubs. Siargao. Siargao is an absolute paradise. It's a haven for surfers and divers. This is where you go if you love the beach and you don't mind living a simple life away from major cities. Rent, food, and transportation are much cheaper here. From Manila, the flight time to Siargao is 1 hour and 20 minutes, and the average one-way ticket price is $100 per person. And now, the fun part. Let's say you picked Makati as your new home. Let's do an overview of the cost. Take note that these costs are for one person only. You'll have to make some adjustments if you're bringing a partner or your kids. First, you have the visa. Since the visa for the first 30 days is free, you'll have to extend it before it expires. We'll add the $65 visa extension fee to your first month's expenses. For your flight to Manila, the average ticket price is about $600 to $700. When you get to the airport, you can immediately buy a SIM card and a phone. Globe is the name of the network that is more commonly used. A monthly plan costs $25 with unlimited texts, calls, and data. From the airport to Makati, you can get a cab and it shouldn't cost you more than $15. On your first night, you have the option of staying at an Airbnb or a hotel. You can get a nice one-bedroom condo unit or a hotel room for about $40. You can definitely find cheaper deals, but for more convenient options, this is the average price. Food is really cheap in the Philippines. You can get a good meal for as cheap as $2. Multiply that by 3 meals per day, and then multiply that again by 30 days. You'll get a total of $180 for your monthly food allowance, if you decide to eat out. Preparing your own meals at home could bring that cost down significantly, depending on the type of food you prepare. Now let's talk about housing. There are so many condominiums and apartment buildings you can choose from. We would suggest that you go to Airbnb and look for a place that suits your preferences. Most hosts offer discounted monthly rates. Salcedo Village and Legazpi Village are ideal areas. You can get a good one-bedroom unit for about $600 per month. Let's move on to transportation. In Makati, there are malls and supermarkets almost every 2 blocks. Everything you need is within a few minutes of walking distance. If you'll be staying mostly in Makati, you probably won't be needing a car. Even if you want to go somewhere farther, it's easy to get a cab. Take note that there's no Uber or Lyft in the Philippines. The local equivalent is an app called Grab. It basically works the same way as Uber and Lyft, so you'll get the hang of it quickly. You might want to download the app in advance, though. If you want to go on long drives and road trips, you'll definitely need a car. We've mentioned earlier that a decent-used sedan would cost around $5,000 to $6,000. But let's say you'll be staying in Makati most of the time and going to other places within Metro Manila once or twice a week. You'll be spending around $240 per month on cabs or Grab. When it comes to grocery shopping in Makati, there are expensive stores and there are more affordable ones, but they are everywhere. If you want to save some money, go to SM, Robinson, or Walter Mart supermarkets. Okay, so time for the total. Let's break it all down. Visa, $65. Ticket, $700. SIM card with 1 month unlimited, $25. Transportation from the airport, $15. Airbnb or hotel 1 night, $40. Food, $180. 1 month rent, $600. 1 month transportation, $240. Total, $1,865. So you'll need at least $1,865 to cover the first month of your move to the Philippines. And of course, since you won't be flying to the Philippines every month and won't be spending that first night Airbnb fee, this significantly brings down the cost of subsequent months of stay. By subtracting these one-time fees and shaving the cost of rental and transportation expenses, you could easily live here for $1,000 or less per month. All right, so there you have it. You just finished a crash course on how to move to the Philippines. Keep in mind that everything is a challenge, especially if you're new to it. You will surely encounter some twists and turns on this journey, but remember that you'll also be gaining a lot from your new experiences, not to mention from the beauty this country has to offer. You will, no doubt, be rewarded with a truly unique experience. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We'll be uploading more videos about how to move to exciting destinations. Thanks for watching.